dear crafty friends. About 2 or 3 weekends ago, because I can't remember, because I'm a woman of a certain age, I did a little challenge for myself of could I make a journal in a weekend. Well, technically, yes, I made the journal. I didn't get round to finish decorating it. So I thought that I'd come back and give you a flip through of how the journal looks. Now, I used a digital kit of mine, a new one called Spring into Summer. I did several tutorials over the weekend, and making the cover was one of them. The only difference now is that I've added this ribbon as the closure, and I've added some Tim Holtz tickets. I can get the other one out. There we go. So I've added some Tim Holtz tickets in the top pocket there, and I also added a tag that I'd made. And for those of you that have been watching the toilet paper embellishments that I made, this is one of them. So if I give you a bit of a close-up. So I inked up the toilet paper, and as you can see, it came out, this whole journal, really chunky monkey. Now originally I did it with 4 signatures, but by the time I decorated them all up, I was only able to fit 2 signatures in the journal itself. On the spine I put some embossed felt, if you can see that, and I added a metal embellishment at the top and at the bottom, and on the back is a lovely little image with the ribbon going underneath it so that the image holds the ribbon in place. Okay, so let's open it up, and I'm going to put, it does lie flat, it does absolutely lie completely flat, so it's easier to write in, but for you to be able to see everything, because you can't see these pages properly, I'm just going to pop another journal underneath there to try and even it out a little so that you can see sort of what's what. So this was one of the pages from the kit, and I added some lace along the edge. Here I made a little booklet, and I'd got some vintage book pages. Now I used the majority of the kit. The only things that I added extra to it were some were some book pages that I'd got, some vintage book pages. So this is from a vintage book, and I fussy cut around the rows and added that onto the front cover of this little mini flip out journal here, and did some stamping on there. So I added some extra book pages in here. So it's just pink food colouring dyed paper, this one, and then the back page I added and made it into a pocket so that I can add a journaling card in there. There's the odd 1 or 2 extra digitals in here that I used of stuff that I'd already got printed off, but the majority of this journal is to do with the digital kit Spring into Summer. Here I added some washi tape and some buttons, made this little flip booklet here, so it flips that way, little flip booklet here which flips this way with some extra pages on, a punched image there and a bumblebee, and then added a pocket on the back and added some extra images in there. Did a little decoration on the side of the page and a real simple mini little cluster there. Now here I added this black and white page because it says a summer hymnal, and I liked the image as well. Now it has been printed via an inkjet printer, but what I've done is I've added some swatch cards here of watercolour paints, so that if you use, say, either a little mini brush or one of these water brushes, you can actually wet the paint and then you can utilise it to paint in this image here. But you do have to be careful because, as I say, it is an inkjet print, so it means that the colour will run if you add too much water. So you only want to use a little bit of water to just add a hint of colour wherever you wish. So I did a card with blue, green, yellow and gold on it, and there's some black, white and brown there, and they were Daler Rowney watercolours, and that slips under that bit. And this one has got an orange, deep red, rust and a rusty brown, and then bright red, yellow, green, again Daler Rowney watercolours. So they sit there, so they're ready for you to utilise on this colouring page here. Or you could use coloured pencils. I just made a very simple paperclip banner there to just hold this page in place because it opens up. Done some stenciling on there, so you've got plenty of room for journaling purposes. And then that sits there. Again, if you watch the other videos, you will have seen where I added this sticky back paper here, and inside this is one of the vintage book pages I was talking about, that of the roses that I fussy cut out. So this is one of the other pages, and I did some stenciling in the background, did some stitching on it, and then on the back I added a belly band. It's got this little hexagon bumblebee on, and there's just some scrap paper in there so that you can write on the back of the card, and you've got the paper to write on as well. That slots in there. This was one of the ghost pockets that I did, so if I flip that back, it has got the same image underneath it as and I've fussy cut it out again here and stuck it on so that it's become a pocket. And then this is again another book page that I've added onto a piece of coffee dyed paper, so that becomes a little journaling spot there, and then added some other little bits and pieces for you to write on, add little memories too. Flip this over, there's some cheesecloth here, dyed cheesecloth. This was a little image that I'd got printed out, and this is another book page here, and it's double-sided. So that, again, if you watched one of my previous videos, I encased these types of book pages into vellum. So it means that you can write on them still, and you're not then damaging the actual image itself. So you can see the image through the vellum, and you can write on that, and you're not damaging the actual image. Little bit of lace, little bit of seam binding. These are little flip outs here so that you can write on the back of them and also write on the page itself. And there I used part of the kit and made that into a little mini belly band, and then with some scraps I made a little paper tag excuse me, to sit behind there. This is vintage book page, which I folded to make two little tuck-in pockets there, and I've added washi tape across the top here to help to protect the page, because it was these papers, because it's so old, it was getting a little bit brittle. So I put the washi tape across the top there, and then I've just added some papers in there that you can utilise. Now I've done this journal, I decorated it up in such a way that you can still add to it with the decoration part of it. Those are the strings, added a butterfly there, and it's held in with elastic. So the signature is all stitched together, and then I've tucked it underneath a piece of elastic to hold the signature in place. Another little flip up here, but just going in the opposite direction to the other one. Here I made a belly band, again with some scraps of the digi, and then put some book page behind it, added a Tim Holtz butterfly. This is a graphic 45 little banner here, and then tucked under there there's this lovely rose journaling card which I backed with some paper, and this was an introductory page to the Reader's Digest Wildflowers, and I've made that into a little pocket pouch and then added some little bits and pieces inside of there. So that sits underneath there. And throughout, as well, as you can see, I've added some bits of lace here so that they can act as tabs. I decided to leave this one alone because I thought it was too nice, but I did add these pages together so that they formed a pocket at the top, and there's a really big tag in there, again part of the DigiKit. I'll put that away later. And then I showed on one of there was the last two videos, I made some of the embellishments that were going to go in the journal, and this was one of them. So I did it on had a square which I put on the diagonal, folded those in, added the circle on top, and then there's the hexagon B on top of that, and made a little booklet type thing to just tuck behind there, and then added this tag. Again, it's one that you can then go on to go and decorate yourself, whoever owns this, so that you can decorate that one up. Made a little tuck spot here with some book pages and washi tape. This was some old packaging from some of the papers that I'd purchased, so I slotted that in there. And then in here there's two little graphic 45 tags and a graphic 45 saying there. These little envelopes I made with some scraps of paper that I'd got, so they fold up and down so that you can write inside, and they both do the same. And then behind them, because I only glued them down the two edges here, I added a scrap piece of paper, and this is some washi sticky tape, so that if you want to peel the backing off and decorate up that paper or use it anywhere else in the journal, then you can do. So as I say, whilst I've decorated it, I've left a lot here for you to be able to make it your own as well. Here there's a little flip pocket, graphic 45 butterfly, and then in here there's some more book pages that I just thought were really pretty. Folded them up because again I thought you might want to chop them up and make those into tags, so I've just left that in there so that you can utilise that. This was part of the, if you remember, I showed you a book, a music book, where I've gone through and I've added some paper napkins to it, so I've got those to hand. And this was a piece that was left over, so I've added it as a pocket with a little bit of fancy trim and put a little mini notebook in so that that tucks in there. And on the back of there, graphic 45 banner. And then this was some purple lined paper that I'd got, so I just punched it into a nice little tag shape. Again, if you watch the videos when I made the original journal, this was one of the embellishments again that I showed you how to make. And so this is a flip top, and then I'm not going to pull it down, but there's the papers in there to pull out, so that you can pull the bunny rabbits out and replace it with a different picture if you want. And I just flipped that over rather than cutting it off. But underneath it, there's these 3 pages here, and obviously then the back page that it's all sat on for you to write on. This little tuck spot here, this again was one of the ghost pages. Because this is the image that's underneath, and I made it into a little tuck spot, put a little pouch in there with some papers inside of it, and added some stamped butterflies that I had previously cut out. Did the hexagon here, so these are all slightly raised. The butterfly here is slightly raised as well. This is the second signature now, and in fact I should be able to remove that. So you can see how nice and flat it lays. So this was a double ghost pocket because the actual image on this page itself was those 2 items there. This one I've ripped out, and then this one I've cut out so that you can see, look, it's underneath there. and I've just tucked a piece of paper in there, and this is another one of those vintage book pages. Put some tissue paper behind it, added another belly band on the back and some more paper, and another little hexagon punched out of one of the images from the didgeridoo. Now here I did a double pocket, so that you've got a pocket at the bottom and you've also got a pocket at the top, and tucked behind both of them is one of the little envelopes that I made from leftover papers. So that tucks under there, and it's fiddly, that one flips in there to hold it all in place. And then I made this little note card, and this was using the paper napkins on the music paper from that book. So this was one of them, and then that opens up, there's a little pocket in there, some paper, and then I just sat that inside of there. Now I've left a lot of the strings, as you will see, from where I did stitching. You can cut them off, you can leave them, it's entirely up to you. Excuse me, some people like it, some people don't. So, graphic 45 butterfly. This is onion skin, some onion skin paper. I added this as a flip page, and then on the flip part I added belly band, a vertical belly band. Again, use the hexagonal punches top and bottom, and then I fussy cut out again from the digi the bee and two of the butterflies, and just decorated that edge up. And then I've just got a little paper clip, heart paper clip there with some of the leftover papers tucked underneath. Some graph paper, and again I showed how to print some of the pages onto different kinds of sticky back paper, and this was one of them. This was the clear clear sticky back paper, so it's got a little bit of shine to it. And on the back I added a little pocket and put some papers inside of the pocket. This was a plain green, well, I say plain green, I hand dyed the green paper, but I'd got one of the pages left over as a spare, so I fussy cut out the shape and I added it along this one edge here. Punched out the butterfly, the bumblebee, well, keep calling it a butterfly. Punched out the bumblebee, added that on top, so that now acts as a little bit of a tab. And again, this was just some leftover paper, haven't done anything with it, so again you can decorate that up to your heart's content to suit your own needs, and that just tucks underneath there. On the back of that there's another little flip there, and I made a tag again from some of the leftover paper, again to be decorated up to your own heart's content. This page here, this was one of the other images that I showed you from the digi, where it was going to be where you could tuck a picture behind it. And so what I've done is I glued it just around the two sides here, so that this corner flips back, so that you can add a picture inside of there. I've put one in there for you for now, so that you can see that something's to go behind it. But obviously you can add your own picture. And this acetate was it's got a print already on it, but that flips open. Let's see if I can, yep. And this is an envelope, so I've actually stuck this onto the front of an envelope which flips open. Added a little bit of a band down the bottom here, and I just fussy cut out one of the images from the kit and just popped it in there, so that you can see that you can use this as a tuck spot as well, and then put some journaling cards and a tag in there, so that this page is now ready for you to write on. And then that flips shut like that. Then this is a pocket here, and there's some book pages in there for you to utilise. This was another one of the big tags from out of the kit. and with some of the acetate that was left over, I used that as a belly band, so that I can put that tag behind there and you can still see the tag in all its glory, and this just adds a little bit of decoration on top of it. Again, this was the vintage book page, and I wanted to protect it as much as I could, so I've actually had to put some tape, some invisible tape down the sides here, because it was just beginning to split. So if you run your finger along there, you will be able to feel the tape, and that was just to protect the paper, to hold it in place. And then I put this paper on the front to act as a little pocket, and just to show that it's a pocket, I just cut out a little bit of a paper tag from some leftovers, and that sits inside of there, just so as you can see it is a bit of a pocket. I did some pretty lace on the edge, and then this was from that music paper book that I'd already put the napkins on top of. So again, I just fussy cut around it, added it onto the book page, and that now acts as a tuck spot, and there's a little embossed card in there. So you can see there's still lots of room for you to be able to write in this. This was a coffee dyed paper. I've done a little bit of stenciling, cut out one of the sticky daffodils there, and then I fussy cut out two of the images from the kit and just added them to the strings on the end here. This is an additional piece that I'd got already fussy cut out, and it just fit on this part of the page beautifully, so I decided to use it because I thought it went with the theme really nicely, and it acts as a belly band, and I've got a butterfly at the top here. And again, another one of those book pages that you could encase this in vellum so that you could write on it, and then that slots under there, but it flips out so that it reveals the whole page here. Another one of the vintage book pages, which I've added as a pocket, and again with some leftover papers, cut out a tag shape little booklet. I haven't inked it up or anything because again it's something that you can decorate up yourself. And again, I've added some stenciling on the edge here, but that kind of hides that there's that little secret compartment underneath there. Again, another one of the napkins on the music paper, acting as a tuck spot. And this was one of the ideas that I showed you in the embellishments video, and yet this is to act as a little pull here, and this is magnetised so that this pulls open to reveal this writing space here and the writing space there on the back, and then it's just held together or held in place by a magnet. Did some stenciling, washi tape. Here I'd already done some stamping a while ago onto some vellum. So this one says, "Be the change you wish to see in the world, Gandhi." So again, it means that when you put the tag underneath, it holds it in place, but it also acts as part of the decoration of the tag. Put some lovely lace on. This was another one that I showed you in one of the videos, where I made the pockets from one of the pages. So it's got some items in there. This is a tag from another kit that I'm going to be introducing shortly, and that was using up some of the leftover paper. That sits in there. And then I added 2 layers of different laces on the bottom down there. Again, this is another side pocket, and there's a greetings card in there, and I will be adding a couple of other little bits and pieces in there too. This was one again that I showed in one of the other videos, and it's where there's the secret tuck spot plant pots. Try saying that when you've had a gin or two. Secretive tuck spot plant pots. There you go. So there's some little hidden tags in there. Another little flip top there. But what I've done something a bit different with this page. So there's the banner here, which again I did in one of the previous videos, and that is holding this piece of paper in place. So this is just a folded piece of paper that I'd got left over, blank on the back, and I've just wrapped it around this piece of green paper here to hold it in place. The little tuck pocket there is just holding it there, and then the paper clip is holding that onto the green paper underneath it, so it blends lovely with that page that's next to it, and it's got that secret writing space in there too. This is a little flip out and some graph paper on the back of there. This was shown again in one of the other videos, and it's a banner pocket, so it's like a secret spot, but I've made it obvious because you can see what's to come out of there. So there's the little tag underneath there with the lined paper, and I put a couple of little bits and pieces on it, and I glued it just down the bottom and the side so that it acts as a tuck spot as well, so that that can sit under there, and that will go in the pocket at the top, which I'll do later because I can't see what I'm doing from this angle. Some more of that onion skin paper, and then this one, there's a sideways pocket that I made here. Used some of the stickers from out of the kit, added the words "Create a Beautiful Life," and in that pocket there's a piece of paper, and I made a tab out of that. So come on, in you go. There we go. And this is the wallpaper that I used as well. So that flaps that way to reveal this page. But also, if you pull on it this way, it opens up to reveal all of this. So there's the side pocket here, and what I'm putting in here is some of the leftover bits and pieces that I've got from making the kit, so that if you want to add some of your own bits to this, there are some bits in there for you to play with. All right, so that pulls that open, which opens up that pocket a bit, but it also reveals this, which is a notepad with some hand-dyed purple papers in there. Again, I've left it so that you can decorate it up yourself. I've just paper clipped it in place. Excuse me. And it's just plain white underneath, and there's some washi tape here, so that that little booklet there is hidden by this pocket, and you can only open it up by pulling on that little pocket there. Flip it over, last page, and I've got again one of the envelopes that I made from some leftover papers. Tucked it behind that little ghost pocket there. This I'm not going to pull out because it's a tight fit, so just so as you're forewarned. So made a belly band, put some lace on it, put the pocket in here. It does move, but it's a tight fit, as I say, so that you've got a pocket there that you can remove and add some bits and pieces into that. And that's it. That is the Chunky Monkey. Now you can see, now I've opened it, you can see how chunky it is. That's the journal that I have now finished. And if you're interested in purchasing it, if you want to contact me on my Etsy store, then you can do. And thank you very much for joining me again today. I'll hopefully see you again in the next day or two, because I'm nearly at 20,000 subscribers and there's going to be a giveaway. But shh, don't tell everyone just yet. Okay, I'm off. Thanks for joining me. See you again soon. Bye for now. Bye.